Representative George Santos may be expelled from the House. What happens next? Washington. The House will vote Friday on whether to expel Representative George Santos from Congress. If the vote succeeds, as is expected, Santos, R-N.Y., will become just the sixth member of the House ever to be expelled and the first in more than 20 years. Here's what you need to know about expulsion and what happens next. There is no guide for what behavior rises to the level of expulsion. The Constitution gives each chamber of Congress the power to set its own rules and the power to punish members. The only requirement outlined in the Constitution is that an expulsion vote requires two-thirds support of the House to pass, which is currently 290 out of 435 members. A two-thirds vote is a higher threshold than the simple majority that most legislation requires to pass. During the 1787 Constitutional Convention, Gouverneur Morris argued that a majority vote would be satisfactory. But James Madison pushed back, saying expulsion was too important to be exercised by a bare majority of a quorum, and might be dangerously abused. Madison's stance won out, and the two-thirds requirement was put in the Constitution. If the vote succeeds, Santos will immediately be stripped of his position as a member of Congress. The House Speaker will then direct the clerk to notify the Governor of New York of the expulsion. That is the practice the House followed in 1980 and 2002. New York's 3rd Congressional District would not have a member representing it during votes until a replacement is elected, but Santos' staff would continue helping with constituent casework. The House has expelled only 5 members throughout history, 3 of them in 1861 for disloyalty to the Union during the Civil War by fighting for the Confederacy. John B. Clark, John W. Reed and Henry C. Burnett. The first member to be expelled post-Civil War was Michael J. Ozzie Myers, D.P.A., who was voted out in October 1980 after he was convicted of bribery and corruption in the abscam FBI sting operation. Democrat James Traficant of Ohio is the most recent member to have been expelled, on an overwhelming 420-1 vote in 2002. He had been convicted of racketeering, bribery, obstruction of justice and tax evasion. The Senate, meanwhile, has expelled 15 members, 14 for supporting the Confederacy and 1 for treason in 1789. While Santos would be forced to pack up his belongings, his congressional staff would continue working. According to House rules, the House Clerk is responsible for supervising the staff and managing the office of any member who dies or resigns or is expelled until a successor is elected. The Clerk, Kevin McCumber, would have the authority to hire and fire staff members for the office with approval from the House Administration Committee. Time equals 400 Ms. Greater than New York law gives the governor 10 days to schedule a special election in the event of a congressional vacancy. It must occur 70 to 80 days after the governor's proclamation is issued. While Santos has said he is not seeking re-election in 2024, he could run in the future even if he is expelled. After Myers was expelled in October 1980, he stayed in the race for his former seat but lost that November.